Hello, everybody. Good morning. And sorry about being a little bit late this morning with this broadcast. I had some technical difficulties, but they seem to have been worked through. So I apologize for my tardiness. It's not Nick's fault. Trust me, it's my fault. But thank you for being here. If you were waiting for us 10 minutes ago and you're off to something else, I totally understand. Feel free to watch this later after it's broadcasted live. Let us know if you watch it later with hashtag replay in the comments so we know. Also, feel free to share this video so we're getting the word out on behalf of Nick and his family and Captain Encouragement. And just thank you for being here, being part of this group. I absolutely am so blessed to be a part of this group with you guys, and I just love it. So much fun. I'm Casie Shornick, and good morning. If you don't know me, what can I say? I'm a mom. I'm a real estate agent. I'm born and raised in Tuolumne County, actually. And so that's a little bit about me, but this is not about me today. So these broadcasts are meant to provide information about our community, what people are doing, inspiring people or organizations or businesses or you name it. If you know somebody that you think would be a good person to come onto the home scene and have an interview, you can always reach out to me. I'm totally open-minded. There isn't really a box that needs to fit into. But if you think someone's face needs to be here, then let me know. And also, lastly, before I'm blabbing, at the top of this screen, it says that in order for us to see who you are, if you comment, you have to give permission to StreamYard and Facebook so they can be friends. And that way, StreamYard we can see who you are. If you comment without doing that, you'll come across as anonymous and sneaky. So, but we will know who you are at the very end. So you don't get to remain sneaky, just to let you know. We will find out. So just give permissions, and that way you never have to do it again, and it's like a one-time thing, and you're good to go. Okay, so good morning. Please feel free to comment and interact. These lives are meant for interaction and questions and encouragement. So please speak up, use your voice. All right, good morning, Nick.
Good morning. How are you?
I think you know who I am, you know?
Yes,
I'm pretty
we've
sure.
had a fun morning.
Yes. Yeah. I'm good. I'm really good now that I'm seeing your face and we're here together.
That's awesome. Yeah, likewise. Very happy.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm happy as can be. I had my birthday yesterday. I'm here with my family, and we're just kind of chilling. It's really exciting.
It was your birthday yesterday?
Yes, it was. Yes.
Oh,
it was,
I didn't know that.
Well, yes, yesterday was my birthday. My mother gave birth to me on that day. Like to thank my mom. She had a lot to do with it. So yeah, it was. That was actually that's actually a big part of my story. Is I wasn't even supposed to live. I wasn't supposed to survive my birth. But I speak to it sometimes in different interviews and such. But yeah, they had a priest come in and talk to my mom about losing a baby because she got into a car accident before I was born, like a severe one. And so they put her in the hospital. They had her up and connected to stuff, and she wouldn't take painkillers because it would affect me. And so she had her ankle was hanging, and they had to bolt it back together with very little painkillers because it would have affected me. So my mom is basically the Terminator.
Right?
Yeah. So, and then I was born almost 2 months premature. I think it was 6 weeks. And so I was born on March 4th, the commandment of the year, move forward. So I feel some obligation, and thanks, Mom. Appreciate it.
Right? Well, I'm glad I'm so glad you're here and that you were born and your mom was such a warrior.
Yeah. Yeah. She definitely, and then that rubbed off in a lot of ways because watching your parents and as you're growing up and you're a teenager and you're like, well, what do they know? And then you learn more about all the struggles and watch them go through it. It's eye-opening, and it definitely helps you even like grow as a
Oh,
person.
yeah.
So yeah.
And that's definitely, it's a powerful part of your story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Well, good morning. I think it's Jay Tipton saying good morning because I have this on another device, so I can see that it's Jay.
Hey,
Told you
Jay.
I'd figure out who you are. Good morning, Jay. And thank you for all for being here and for saying good morning to us. We appreciate it. So tell us a little bit, Nick, about just what's been happening with, well, actually, let's start with for those who don't know who
Mhm.
you are.
Yes.
We just got to hear a little bit about your birth, but lead us up briefly to Captain Encouragement so people can kind of familiarize themselves with who you are.
Yes. So I'll cliff note it. I don't own the rights to that word, so don't hit me with any infringement. So, growing up, I experienced a lot of different things, one of which was bullying. As I got older, I started to kind of want to reciprocate anger and pain, and so I ended up becoming this big, violent kind of creature. And so I got into football, into cage fighting, and mixed martial arts and wrestling, and I just wanted to like assert my dominance, and it seems like a big part of that, the underlying issue was I wanted power in my life, and I felt powerless growing up to a certain point. And so it led me to this like creature version of myself, and so I was never truly content or happy or myself. And so I was always chasing this idea of self, and so the more you chase this idea, the more you feed this hollow kind of shell of yourself, and the more you feel that, so you kind of keep moving towards it with this hope you'll eventually get there. Had a brain hemorrhage at 19, which kind of ended any form of sports for me. For the most part, I can still do bodybuilding, but I'm not allowed to do certain, like I can't take impact. I remember after the brain hemorrhage, I asked the doctor, I said, hey, does this, he's like, no more physical sports. And I said, does that include cage fighting and football? And he's like, yeah, those are top of the list. So, so feeling this also the sense of chasing this idea of who I was and having some of the equation removed, I was like, well, then who am I? So it sent me on this long, fun journey. Sometimes the word isn't fun. I learned a lot about humility, and something I learned about the lessons of humility. It's never like given to you softly. It's on the back end of a sledgehammer, and you just kind of take it. It's like, oh, it's like, oh, humility. Ow, that didn't feel good.
Right.
And then lessons of that kind of came, and as I was aging and kind of looking back at my path, and now you have this new lens to look at it, and when you're looking at it, you're kind of like cringing. You're like, oh, why would I what's wrong with me, and feeling the sense of I need to atone, basically, like for my sins. Like I made so many mistakes, I hurt so many people, and the first question was, how can I heal all that I've done? How can I heal this violence, this anger, this rage, this hatefulness that I was just like spewing out? And that's kind of the quote that hurt people. And it's definitely helped
Yes.
me as an adult be able to empathize. So when I see someone angry and spiteful and rageful, I'm like, I know that guy or that girl. Like, yeah, I've been there. I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to discount people's experience, but just being like, yeah, I've been there. I know what you're feeling. So not holding it against them, but being able to, be like, yep. But here's what I did. And so on my journey, 23, moved to this quaint little town, which I really enjoyed, called Sonora. And I met all these amazing people, frankly, that kind of, there was no expectation at this point for me to be anything. As far as I had my internal ones, like I need to be this, I need to do this, I need to, accomplish all these things. I had done acting and modeling and still felt no fulfillment. And I was like, I want to make a difference in the world. And I met a lot of really amazing mentors along the way who took me under their wing. And I remember this, I want to create this character. I remember I felt like I want to do something because everything I've tried thus far has not been Nicholas, and it's all failed. And it just didn't feel like me. And then I had this idea of a superhero who would teach kindness and teamwork and leadership. And I was like, I'll be Captain Encouragement. And I had this costume made, and people thought I was crazy. Some people in Sonora still think I'm crazy, but I just, I was like, I have to do this. And so I met these amazing people. Amy Falcon, who sent me on this journey, helping me. She actually still isn't like on the board today, but she helped as a mentor. If I could actually pause really quickly, like everyone listening, I think it's important for you or your kids, your grandkids, to establish some form of mentorship. Because it really helps you grow as a person from experiences outside of yourself. So we get really stuck in our knowledge base, our information. And it's not to say a mentor has all the answers, because no one does. But an accumulation of accumulation of information can kind of send you somewhere, and it can inform you beyond your extent of knowledge. So that being said, I met all these amazing mentors, got into the development through Mark Dykin, one of my dear friends, mentors. And then I got connected with the Rotary Club in Twain Harte Rotary, and I met a lot of amazing people there, Terry Northcutt, Eric, Jeannie Frankenstein, and all these people just kind of believed in it and believed in me. And they supported it, and they got around it, helped us form a board, helped us do all this really great work. And then over years of trial and error, and I put this in summation. It's like, this is this section of work, but it was every day grinding it out. So all the people involved along the way, I can't name them all, but I can say, like, every person who had a role, Nola, Kimberly, at Center 21, like a lot of people came in and said, yeah, we believe in that. And it allowed me to year over year to continue to serve, and it actually fueled service, because you run out of energy after a while. And you learn that the hard way sometimes, that you run out of energy and you want to keep going and you burn yourself out. And I remember a lot of mentors saying, like, take it easy, stay, try to relax, breathe, take your rest. So I was like, what do you know? So learning those lessons in person was a blast. But a lot of people along the way helped form it and mold it. And year over year, we tried school assemblies. We started to grow our school assemblies, do comic books, all these amazing resources. And it just kind of became, I got to become a giant child, basically. So I got to learn what kids want, and then try to teach them the things that I learned, except translate it. How do I tell this story to the 5-year-old version of me, so that he doesn't become the teenage, early 20 version of me, that all the pain that I felt. And I can't move people away from the pain in their life necessarily, but I can try to give them tools from a young age. Because I just looked at society and I said, well, you have TV, you have magazines, you have video games, you have all these things that kids interact with. And what is going to really cultivate the next generation of leaders? And there's nothing. You can say, well, there's these good shows and good that. I'm like, well, you're also, look at what you're competing against. And so that's fueled Captain, and that's kind of helped us grow and try new things. A musical, you've been involved in a lot of ways. Your kids have been involved in a lot of ways, like the musical.
Yeah, that was amazing.
Yes, and just being able to do all these events with all these people and grow, and it introduced me to my wife, who originally was helping out with the program. And I'm like, you're amazing. Like, let's get married. I love you so much. And so through that, I've been able to grow as a person, and Candace and my wife has stepped in and helped build this program into something even further. And we've, as a family, get to do these events, and it's just, until recently, but it's grown, and we've just kind of kept meeting the need where it was with a superhero. So I think that's as cliff noted as I can get it.
I'm sure it's a much more detailed story, but that was a pretty good. That's a lot. You just packed a lot into a short thing. So
yeah, that's 6 years. 6 years into that little, I think 6 minutes or so. So
yeah, pretty good.
And I can't give credit. I want to give credit to everybody. I'll be here for days though, because there's so many people that believed in this, or put time in, or Michael Miller, one of the first writers of the comic and the traveling, all the stuff we did. And he went on this tour with me when we were like nobodies. and we were literally calling bookstores down the coast. Like our first comic was made, called people down the coast. Last story, and then I'll stop.
No, you're good.
But I would call someone. They're like, "Well, we're only free on this day," and we're like, "Yeah, we're gonna be in that area around then." And we had no plans of being anywhere. So we set that date, and then we call another bookstore. We'd like look in between, and I'd just Google bookstores. I'm like, "Do you guys ever have authors there?" And they're like, "Yeah, sometimes, but what days?" And I'm like, "We're gonna be there that day." And they're like, "Yeah." So we create a couple tours that way, where we were able to reach like hundreds and thousands of kids, and it was just 1,000 calls, 950 no's, 50 yeses, and so we made the events happen. And I was able to find like really big events that would be happening somewhere, and call, and they'd be like, "Well, we're like, yeah, we have a speaking engagement available this day." I was like, "Perfect, I'm gonna be there. I'm getting my ticket right now." But yeah, just like that, and that's kind of how just the progression year over year. For all the amazing people, I want to say thank you. And if there are people that are watching like who were involved, and there's a lot of them, so just thank you. Like we couldn't do this without all these people, all these supporters, everybody. I'd like it sometime to talk about the supporters, but we'll keep going, and I'll give my thanks to all the people who have supported, especially season 2.
Okay. Yeah. Awesome. It was a good reminder too that when you said you had 950 no's
Yes.
and 50 or 950, yeah, and 50 yeses.
Yeah.
That's such a there's a lot right there to unpack.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It hurts, by the way. Like the no's are painful, especially if they're not delivered in a nice way. You're like, "But I'm doing it for free. It's for kids." And they're like, "You're stupid." Click. I was like, "Okay, well, next one." But I think that applies in all ways. We just gotta.
It does. That's what I was gonna say. It applies. Yeah. And every no is like a growth. If you look back,
Yep.
During it, it's upsetting, right? But then you look back and you're like, I grew through each no, I grew, and I was more powerful for my yeses, So, yeah. Anyway, that's just it. That caught my ear. So tell us a little bit about. I know we had you on the home scene a year ago.
I think so. It was around the beginning of the pandemic, and it was how are we going to address these things, and that's we had to pivot into episodes.
Yep. And you were kind of making that turn toward that, and you were doing some exercise videos for the kids stuck at home who weren't getting as much activity. Yeah. You were doing lots of stuff. You had started the video game. I believe you were starting the video game idea, and you were needing people even to like try it out. Maybe I can't remember.
Well, we had just gotten so our supporters we reached out to were like, "Well, we can't do school assemblies. Our biggest school assemblies for like all of Tuolumne County, all of Amador County, were scheduled for March 30th, 31st, and April 1st. We spent over half a year prepping for it, and like thousands of dollars just gone. And we're like, well, what do we do? So we contact our supporters, like, we have to create episodes. It's the only way we're going to reach kids right now, because kids are going to be virtually learning. And so we pivoted into that. We turned our house into a studio. It was pandemonium here. What else? Rotary of Jackson and District 50 to 150 gave us a grant to create content, so we started creating more episodes. Olga Jones, one of our big supporters and the person who's believed in this since the very early days, was like, "We believe in you, we will support you." She's an amazing human being that just has fueled since the very beginning of saying, like, "You can do it, I believe in you." And that power of being able to feel like I can. She put that belief behind this as well in sponsoring the episodes, and we just started trying. I started contacting experts, like, how do I film on green screen? I didn't have the expertise yet. But I had to like learn from lighting. I was like sending videos and images off. I'm like, is this right? They're like, not at all. So we just kind of kept trying until we found our rhythm and found, oh, how can we make this content work? Like, oh, and then Candace started working on the curriculum and giving their like actual things that kids can interact with. And then the boys, our boys were like helping with filming, helping with doing voiceover for one of our comic episodes. And our whole family unit was like, let's get it done. So it felt really good that everyone kind of stepped in. And that was kind of, we just kind of kept going with it. And then we started working on the back end of the grant we were using for back half of it for a video game, which I was like, well, speaking to longevity, there's no way something like, you know, TV shows are great, episodes are great, curriculum's great, but it's I've done it, it's over. I've watched this episode, maybe I'll watch it again in a month or two. So the idea was, well, maybe we develop a video game. So we developed an episode that had a video game feel to it. And I'm like, like what if we made that a thing? And that's what we kind of went with. And then I dove into that, and you know, it's unfortunately still not developed because I didn't know there's so much involved. But there's a lot involved with making video games, but it's like almost ready. It's we have the posters in of the video game kind of cover, but there was 3 levels. It was a mathematics related game. Actually, I can actually show you.
Oh, that'd be great.
All right. Okay. Let me see. Does this have? It has a light ring on it. Okay. I have to turn off my light ring. Adios mío. Yo no sé por qué. All right. So we had. This is where things are right now. There's a light back here. I'm trying to find it. Maybe. There should be a light here. I'll unplug it. So, this is the game thus far. There, move it this way. Uh-oh, where's the volume?
Yeah, we can see it pretty good.
Is the volume too loud or too quiet?
Perfect.
Okay. Now we use the support of the game. Thank you. And then you would select a level.
Level 1 commencing.
Let's move it this way so I can see. So I have to work. This is an actual game. So you're trying to move and dodge, and then. So your job is to dodge. Like you move the screen to dodge it, and then.
Right.
I'm sorry, I'm trying to do that. So there's different levels, and then you can pause it, and then go back to the main menu. And then there's expert is higher level.
Level 1 commencing.
And then the level 5 is a boss level. But this is like multiplication. And so here's your lives, and then that's the solving mathematics. That's kind of it.
That's incredible.
It took a lot of time.
I bet.
So it's 5 levels for each age group. So there's, you know, simple single-digit math, addition, subtraction. Same thing with double-digit math, subtraction, addition for the middle grades, or for 1 to 2, and we have multiplication, division for level 3, and they go to level 5. There's a lot of assets that have to be created, and assets are things like what would it be? All the different characters had to be created. Okay, and so we had to create all this stuff from scratch. The backgrounds, I had to do like 100 voiceovers for what happens when you get hurt, what happens when you make it, when you succeed, when you complete the level. We had someone else to voiceover for that. So we just got to work. But the more we did, the more I found out, the more I had to do. So as we were doing it, it was just kind of
I can't even imagine. People don't realize how much work probably would go into something like that.
Yeah.
Incredible.
And it ended up costing a lot more money than we thought, but it was like getting to play it. It was like, whoa, it's a thing. And
yeah.
And we've just released the APK version for testing. We've had a few people test it.
Okay.
So the APK, which is for Android devices, the the other version, which will be available for Apple. So at some point, it's going to be available on the Apple App Store and Google Play Store, and then be able to be played the HTML5 version on the website.
Okay, when do you expect that to happen?
Well, we just got done, or we're not done. We're in the midst of game testing because there's issues that popped up with levels, with bugs. So the first bit is testing, but that's what we're looking at right now is the testing for,
And where do you want people to keep up with when this, stuff is out? Where can they keep up with that?
So on our Facebook page, on our website, we update the Facebook page a lot more. Facebook, Instagram, our YouTube channel is where we're gonna air our next episodes for season 2, which is a whole other conversation. But yes.
Okay.
Yes. So
just I can link all of that in the top.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. Okay. So other than that, which is a lot already, crazy and so amazing. I think it's so awesome that you guys were able to adapt to what was I think that's some of what we spoke about last time, was just meeting the moment for what needed to happen and adapt to it, and then look at what the result of that was. I mean, it's pretty incredible.
Thank you. Yeah, and honestly, I mean, it still felt like we weren't doing enough. It felt like, and it still feels, because Captain Encouragement, I used to just like go into the community. I used to just interact with kids. I would just be there like, Captain, how you guys going? They're like, superhero. But now it feels like there isn't like enough that can be done, which is very hard to deal with, to be honest. Because I can't see the reaction. I can see pictures, like you sent me pictures of your son doing the exercises, which is great, but it's not that it feels like we've done it, like we are helping. But it feels like we're helping from a distance, and it kind of hurts sometimes, but it's also for safety. So it's just torn both ways of like, how do I continue to help kids, which is why the video games seem like such a necessity. I was like, okay, well,
absolutely, yeah.
How do we give longevity to the impact and encourage learning? Mathematics is very important. So yeah.
And at some point, I mean, if you look back, you probably wouldn't have achieved all of this without COVID.
No,
at least so quickly, or gone in that direction. And so eventually when things do, get back to normal, you're going to have the best of both worlds, because you were kind of able to pause and work on that, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, necessity is mother of innovation. So that's we're like, well, how do we continue to, our entire business model was captain, a team, and a lot of kids. I was like, well, that's like those we had the biggest year planned for 2020, but I know everything happens for a reason. I know that we will.
Absolutely.
One of the positives that I've seen one of the many positives of COVID is that whenever someone experiences a trauma, from a distance, you can say, well, that must be really bad. That must, because I can't fully relate. I can empathize, I can feel and say, well, I can imagine what that feels like. But everyone's feeling this together, for the most part. So it's this kind of trauma that people are like, they feel what the other person is feeling, which I think in a lot of ways is a new experience as like as a race. We're the human race collectively feeling it, which I think is pretty powerful and positive, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. There's been a lot of amazing things that have occurred through this whole experience, I think, for many people, and a lot of tragedy and a lot of hurt at the same time, but it's so important to acknowledge the good through it all, because we have to always have hope, and that's and something to cling to. So
agreed.
So tell us, other than the video game, what else Captain Encouragement has been up to during this time frame?
Well, so we worked on season 1. Season 1 was awesome. Built a really great team. And then season 2, we're in the development for, and excited to announce so many epic people who are going to be on season 2, who are going to be in the episodes. Got friends from Kansas City, Florida, Hawaii, people that are all over the globe helping out with Spanish episodes. My friend Chris Hollyfield, a former WWE wrestler, is going to do one on sports and on differences. I got my friend Sam in Kansas City teaching drums. He's this incredible drummer. I got Tiana in Hawaii doing music. And we just have a lot of awesome people coming out to make season 2 a thing. So, and the support from a lot of amazing organizations stepping in and saying, we think you can do it. And so in the midst of building season 2, we were reached out to by a children's streaming service in the UK. And they asked if they could air our content. And we said yes.
Of course you did.
Yeah. So, well, and it's always making sure that it's brand cohesive and that, you know, the mission of one more child that we get to reach and affect is always the goal. Our goal is always, you know, it's not, originally it was, my feeling was like, I want to change the world. I'm going to change everybody. But you change one person, you affect one life, then you're on your path. And so whenever they reached out, we were like, well, one more kid, you know, one more student who might see this and it changes their trajectory a little bit. That's the goal. And yeah, and so we said yes. And so, you know, it took months of the contract and all the other fun stuff, but, you know, Highbrow is the name of the company. It's a streaming service for kids based in the UK with audiences in India, Australia, South America, and so it increases our reach, and they're doing good work. They created their business for the same reason we created ours. It was the content that's available for kids isn't good. It's not good. It's not healthy. It's not like productive learning. They're watching some of the stuff and it has like dark references as adult content, and so they developed a streaming service specifically for kids. And so we're like, well, let's do it. And so in the midst of season 2, we got that. So it's also another plus for all the people who have supported us. And it was like, this is our additional way of saying, you know, thank you. Is, you know, we want to reach our audience. We want to say thank you. And then now, you know, your logo, your support gets to go out to all these people, which it's just, you know, it's, for me, it's like, I feel fulfilled in saying like, it, you know, not only did you help create the content that is going to help change lives, it's going to reach even more people. And that was the hope, to be able to like supply that to the people who believed in us from the beginning. But when this was just Nicholas in a superhero costume being called crazy, now, you know, I'm still called crazy, but it's relatively justified.
That's amazing. That is such exciting news. I can't even imagine how that must feel.
It feels really good. It feels, for me, I think my focus is still like, you know, build this to a place of inclusion, of love, of making an impact, of that one more life. So that, you know, it's always, when I first started my journey, I was like, I want to reach everybody, like trillions of people. But then it didn't fade necessarily. Like that's my end goal, but that's where it lives. It's like, what's in front of me right now?
Right.
And how can
Baby
I best,
steps.
Yeah, exactly. And how can I best do this in this moment right now with what I have? So that's, you know, one of the ways we're like, okay, well, that increases our reach. We got the video game coming out. You know, COVID has made things complicated, but we can adapt, we can adjust. And so that's what we've done. And so,
yeah,
you know, my wife has taken on so much of the heavy lifting for the curriculum side of things, and the boys have, you know, the filming, the back end of filming, just handling stuff in front of the camera, behind the camera. So it's been a family effort, definitely.
Yeah, that's incredible. It really is. It's such a joy to be able to come together with people that you love and do something that has such an impact. And that, yeah, that's amazing. I'm so happy for you guys.
Thank you.
And for everybody else too, not just for you guys. I know it's not all about you, but at the same time, it's amazing to see your dream coming to life, right? And seeing how that's all playing out and impacting, you know, people. I think it's incredible. So
it feels kind of weird, but it's really good.
I bet.
It feels strange because, you know, years ago I had this vision, I was like, this is going to happen. It's going to do this and do that. And then whenever the thing that I would stress to your listeners and the people watching is that when you're chasing your dream, whether it's, and your dream doesn't have to be this, but there is no indicator, there's no gauge that says your dream is more than less than. When you're
Sure.
chasing on it, it's enjoying the moments, because I realized early on I didn't enjoy a lot of the moments because my job was to get to what's next. Like it was a year after the comic book came out that someone asked me the question, how's it feel to be an author? And I was like, what do you mean? Like I didn't even take the time, because after I created the comic book, my job was to market the comic book and to sell the comic book.
You were
So
always on to that next thing, and you didn't really, really, truly take a moment to go to, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
That's a good reminder.
Yeah. I'd be stepping on like a really big stage to share my message. And I was like, that was really cool. What do I have next on the calendar? Like, what's next? And so events and things that I had dreamed of, like my entire life. I wanted to make comic books. I wanted to create TV. I wanted to create video games. I wanted to have really big performances. I wanted to speak in front of people. I wanted to be this motivational speaker. And I was just like, check, 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 check. But it was check. Look
What's
to the
next?
next one. Yeah. So I'm still learning to like come into moments, but I feel like, that March.
Well,
March
that's
4th.
also your kind of go-getter attitude. I mean, I can relate to that on a totally different things. I can completely relate to that, though.
Yeah. And it's celebrating those victories, making sure that you actually celebrate it, because it's easy to celebrate physically, and mentally your brain's like checklist, and so it's a constant struggle. So I won't say
it is, and there's certain personality types out there that just, there's people that they're just built to like, okay, we got that done. Okay, what's next? And it is good to stop and slow down and just enjoy that or relish in it for a moment and really sit with it. And, but it's hard to do that for certain people. It is.
Yeah. It's hard to be present. And, but I think it's a practice. It's something like I'm still learning. I'm not speaking to you as someone that's on the other side of this information.
Yes.
I'm still there. I don't have the
But you're
techniques down.
acknowledging it and you recognize it, which is a lot of it right there. Just acknowledging and recognizing that is, half the battle, so to speak.
Yeah. So, and that's through our studio that we created independent of Captain. I just finished writing a book called Henry's in a Hurry about that specifically, because I was like, well, the logic was, maybe if I put it into a story format, then I have relinquished myself of the responsibility.
Right.
But in a way, it was like, maybe I'll learn from my own things, because that's what I think we all do. Is we all embark on the work, especially from a young age. We embark on the work we most need to do on ourselves. We embark to solve and fix, whatever the problem is. I wanted to heal people of rage, of anger, and help them like empathize. But that was because I was trying to heal myself. I was trying to teach that lesson to myself. You want to fix what's wrong in your parents or your surroundings or your, as you're growing up. So that's what we embark on. And that's a big part of the journey is finding out what that is that we want to fix, but it heals us on the journey there. So I think that's, a reason I created, this new studio, but that specific book was one of many that are issues that I feel that I need to work on, but I need to make it tangible. So that's what I've arrived at this point in my life, I guess.
Yeah, that makes sense. Pretty powerful stuff. Yeah. I wonder if people realize when they see Captain Encouragement, in his get up, his cape and everything, if how much depth is really to what you're doing.
I doubt it, to be honest, because I've been in situations where people would say really mean, harsh things. I've been in situations where there was expectations that could not be met, and there's things with Captain that I'm not doing it for the adults. If it helps the adults, good. But my job, and this translates across multiple arenas, is this is my specific job, and I will do it to the best of my ability. I put my heart into it. Sometimes it burns me out and puts me on like the verge of like being unconscious, and just showing up, being your all. I've had to learn self-care through this process, and again, I'm probably going to write a book on it so I can learn it. So that's kind of the parts of it, is really just being able to focus on what your mission is and deliver, and then not worry about so much of the outside noise, because a lot of people, I've been called every name in the book. I've literally received death threats via social media. I've received some of the meanest, harshest comments, and it's just, then it's not for you. Then that's fine. That's just kind of the reality, and it happens within all of us, chasing our dreams, trying, whether it's healing a family member, healing a friend, just being there, whatever it is. Some people might be like, well, why are you doing that? Like, why are you trying that? Why are you blah, blah, blah? It's like, because this is part of me. So, you know, I know I'm doing it for a reason. And one story that I can tell that was just, I felt in my bones, I'm supposed to do something, was, I don't know how much time we have. I don't want to take up too much time.
You're okay.
Okay. I went to Boston. I was like, we got to go to the 30 under 30 summit. I was given free tickets because I submitted our kind of business model, but we were really young at the time. This was like 4 years ago. And I went out there as captain, had my banner that says like, reminder, you're brilliant, you're beautiful, you're loved. And I just went around, and I was like, I feel I need to be there. I know something's going to happen. I didn't have enough money to stay every single night, but I calculated to where the first night I slept at the airport, because I knew we didn't have enough money to do it that time. So I was like, I know for a fact I need to be here. And sometimes whenever it's that concept from, like, I think Tony Robbins talks about it, burn the boats, take the island. You know, when you don't have a way back, you will find a way forward. And so I remember I slept at the airport, and on top of my bag the first night. Second night, the summit was happening. I was going out, talking with people, walking around like, have a great day. And they just started like letting me in backstage. They thought I worked there. And they're like, oh, hey, it's Captain. And then they just started like letting me places. And then we started to get some, like, because our hashtag was on there, URL, we started getting a lot of traction online. And then someone, the second to last day I was there, from the Boston Globe, reached out and said, I'd like to do an article.
Wow.
And so that was game changing. It really increased our credibility, and it was like, well, it was a big step for our organization. And so it was this thing where it's just, I felt it. I got called all sorts of names while I was there. But then some people were like, I really needed this today. And I did it for them. I did it for the people that really needed it that day. It wasn't, not everything is going to be for everyone. That's fine.
No, exactly. Yeah. It's, I think a lot of people that are in the spotlight, whether they're doing what you're doing, or which is unique, or something like what you're doing, or whether they're an artist of some type, or musician, or whatever, there's always those critics and people that are mean and harsh.
Yep.
Especially with social media. And it's, I hear people speaking about that a lot, and just needing to drown that out.
Yep.
That just drowning it out and ignoring it. And it's hard to do that, because we're all we're emotional, kind of sensitive beings. And it's like, hey, why are they saying, but you have to do that. You have to drown it out and focus on the people that lift you up and are there. And because there's a lot more of those.
Yeah. And your brain kind of goes to the one negative thing out of the 50 positive things.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
it's that just has to do with our wiring as creatures.
It does.
We're focused on like live, survive, and so this emotionally hurts me. So now it's like all my facilities are activated now to respond to this because it's how we're
Yes.
wired as people. But and there's ways of finding lessons, and whether sometimes it can be constructive criticism, sometimes it can be aggressively unconstructive, but you are able to find a nugget of information out of it. And sometimes it's just blatantly mean, and sometimes you just have to start learning how to assess that filter, because there's times where criticism I received was received in a bad way, but it was necessary. So I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm listening. I'm listening. And so there's like different tiers of how
Yeah, I
information.
agree.
Yeah, that comes in. So that's kind of learned that over the years, and I'm sure there's much more of it to come.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so tell us a little bit of, I want to make sure we've hit on everything that Captain Encouragement's been doing the last year. Did we
That's
cover everything? Yeah,
I'd say
pretty much
that
everything. Okay,
we
just
have
making
a
sure.
lot of epic guests coming out for season 2. That have supported it and are like that are going to come out, and we're working on the episodes. We've received. I'd like to say thank you to our sponsors who help make it happen, because as much as the work we do is great and we're out there, without the funding behind it, I can't make them work. I can't make an episode. So Olga Jones, obviously, and Auto Tech and Tires and Microtronics, in loving memory of Larry Jones, since almost the beginning, literally just saying, she walked up to me at one point, held my hands and said, like, don't stop doing what you're doing. Like, please acknowledge all that you've done. And it was a lot at the time, because I was, it burnt me out. She's like, it's going to get really hard. And I was like, it's kind of hard, but it got much harder, and it does get much harder. And she was just held my hands, looked at me and said that. And a lot of people, didn't believe in it, didn't think it would happen, and thought it was stupid. I was told it would fail many times. So huge thank you on about 1,000 different levels to Olga and her family, who are all incredible. Thank you to Twain Harte Market. Twain Harte Market sponsored our second season as well. And then Twain Harte Rotary came out and supported. Hometown Rotary, Twain Harte Rotary, happy, proud Rotarian. And then the Sierra Rotary Club as well, who came out and supported one of my dear friends, Tim Madden. His club supported us, and we were able to have the funds to make an epic season 2. And it's not possible. And I know there's no way that we can say thank you enough for being able to do these things, because without it, I can't do the work, and without the work, the mission can't reach the kids. So there's that tiered effect. So very grateful for all of those people, for just believing in it. So many thanks from our family.
Yeah.
Oh, and it's Oakhurst Sierra Rotary. I apologize. Sorry, Tim. I love you so much. Tim's such a good dude. Actually, speaking of Tim, that's Tim.
Oh, hi, Tim.
Yeah, say hi to Tim. He's busy making a difference.
I can tell you get a little bit emotional when you're talking about people who support you.
Yeah, absolutely. Because if I were to continue on this mission from the very beginning, and no one believed in it, no one supported it, it would have been heavier. I, in theory, could have gotten close to where I was 3 years ago today. I would have, it would have been such a long trek. It would have been painful, and I probably would have quit, to be frank. Without people supporting, without people saying, I believe in that, and taking a chance on it, nothing's possible. It's, and I don't mean to be negative in that way of saying it's not impossible, but because of each one of the people who believed in it, we were able to reach these milestones and make this impact. And that support is like when you're doing anything in life, when someone says, yeah, I believe in you, there's different ways in which they can say, I believe in you. But in this, we need the support to keep doing this work. So it was impossible otherwise. So it's someone who became a dear friend, or basically became a family member, and they step into a role and say, yeah, you can do it. And it fuels me to keep going whenever, you know, your candle's been burnt on every single end, but you're like, yeah, I can do it.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm
No,
working with
people
like
stepping up
that's what's left of the candle. It's
and,
like, but
and stepping beside you and holding your hand through, you know, those moments where you know, I mean, that applies in so many ways. Yeah. But okay,
yeah,
well,
and sometimes
Kimberly
there are.
commented.
Oh,
She said good morning to you. She said love Captain Encouragement and all he stands for.
thank you, Kimberly, so much, so much.
Yeah, it's hard to see. She
Uh,
didn't give permission to StreamYard, but that's who that was. That was Kimberly. So
cool,
yeah.
cool, awesome. Yeah, it's um, and on the statement about what, you know, when people believe in you, sometimes it's those people holding their arm out whenever you can't stand yourself.
Mm.
Because there's many times along this journey where I've been battered and bruised, where my wife is here, like, hold me up, or our sponsors or donors or our supporters, or even like, when the kids believe in it, like that little bit of the kid saying, like, the change happening is that fuel when you're like roasted. You look like the end of like the Avengers movies where you're like all the characters just beaten into the ground. You're like, oh. And so
Reminds me of that Santa Claus movie. This is totally random, but there's a Santa Claus movie where they need Christmas spirit to run the sleigh.
oh, what was that? That was the one with Will Ferrell, right?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
think it was
Elf.
is it Elf? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
This is right.
Yeah. Yeah.
It totally applies.
Yeah, yeah, and that's a very similar, you know, tank. Very
Yeah.
similar tank and fuel that needs to go in is the belief in what's happening in order for it
Yes.
to keep going, because it was literally an idea 6 years ago. And now it's evolved into so many things, but it was because of that belief that we were able to threshold
Mm-hmm.
Rotary
Mm-hmm.
Club, like Snore Rotary Club with the celebrity dinner, all these other events um, that have happened over the years, all these different clubs, all these different people helped us kind of make that one more impact. And I don't know if we'll all ever know all the people we've been able to reach with this, or all the kids we've been able to
No,
reach with
you
it.
won't.
And I don't
Mm-mm.
think the sponsors will, or the parents will, or any of these people will. And sometimes that's part of the beauty of it is I know we've done a lot, and
Yeah.
then that's just, it feels good, but it's also like we got to do more. Unfortunately.
Right.
Yeah.
Or fortunately, depending on how you look at it. So tell
Yes.
us real
Yeah.
quick, what projects outside of Captain have been going on?
So, so I don't sleep, just to clarify. So we've been working on a studio I created about a year ago, over a year ago, more than a year ago, called Happy Hive Studios and Productions. I wanted to create content that was outside of Captain, standalone, with the goal of a percentage going to help some organization. But I haven't learned how to make profit yet, because some of these projects we haven't launched. So I've been building a lot of the infrastructure in behind the scenes. So project like this comic book right here, this is called The Muffin Man Who Took Back Drury Lane. It's a story of a military style John Wick-esque muffin who goes back to his hometown of Drury to save Drury. Basically, he finds out his father's been kidnapped, so he needs to save his father. So we're going to launch that Kickstarter for that comic, and it comes with there's gonna be a lot of different perks you can buy via crowdfundings through Kickstarter.
Okay.
And then there's another children's book which I can't share yet, but it's a choose your own adventure, not choose your own adventure. That's owned. It's a find your own path
Okay.
children's book, detective children's book. That's going to be a children's graphic novel.
Oh, I like that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then there's the one I had just told you about, which is in editing right now. So the hope is to launch 3 books this year, and with a fourth on the way for early next year. That's one that's informational about type 1 diabetes, because our oldest son has type 1 diabetes.
Okay.
And so the other book, as I told you, Henry's in a Hurry. So that should hopefully be going to art in the next 3 months, 2 months. But
Wow.
right now,
So this is all through Happy Hives
yes,
production.
correct.
Happy Hive or Hives?
Happy Hive,
Hive,
singular studio and productions. And so we
Okay.
have a Facebook page, Instagram page with all of our different content and pieces of the different things we'll be launching right now. The only thing that we've really been sharing about is the Muffin Man. And
Okay.
I've been very fortunate to have really great teams helping out with each one of these projects, donating their time because it's a startup in a lot of ways. Some of the art I've had to pay for. But yeah, that's what we've been trying to find support for. The comic books, this other children's detective choose your own adventure graphic novel, the Henry's in a Hurry, which is a lesson about all the things I've just listed, and the Type 1 diabetes book with up. I think we're gonna try to launch 5 books next year too.
Wow.
5 years as 5 books, including the Type 1 diabetes book.
That's amazing. Are you looking for support, like financial support, or what kind of support are you looking for? How can people support you?
Yeah, support and financial, because to give context, comic books range in price for the art from anywhere from $80 to $200 a page for
Wow.
color, and so it's 28 pages of art sequentially. So that doesn't include that includes some of the graphic design, but that doesn't include formatting into pages to go to print. Doesn't include the ebook conversion, the ISBN conversion, or to have like your book number, because they'll be independently published. So that doesn't include printing costs. There's a lot involved. So it's roughly like anywhere from $4,000 to $8,000 a book. But I've been very fortunate to have some support in these ways, where people, like the writers on that book, they're like, we'll get paid afterwards. Let's just make this world a reality. My friend Andrew Leskinen, and then Aaron Starkey. And we've just been jamming. Like every week we have our meetings. The same thing with these other books, where we'll have one meeting with a team. They're different teams, and just kind of start chipping away at it. And that's kind of how it's been for the last year and a half, which is why we haven't done much thus far, because it was just building. And so now it's like, okay, that's close to release. Got an artist on that. That's close to release. The artist is working on that. The other books, the exact same thing. So it's going to be, hopefully 3 this year, 3 books. And the goal is, this is more fun. The other 3 are informational. Because one is to teach about healthy eating habits. One's to teach about the general public about type 1 diabetes, because it seems very unaware. And then the other one was to teach people about doing one thing at a time and prioritizing.
Wow.
As I tell
all
you
really
about,
good lessons.
As I tell you about, I tell you about 4 books, a children's TV show, and a video game. So yes, do one thing at a time. Yes. Sweet
That's
mother
funny.
of irony.
Awesome. So people can find out about these children's books on the Happy Hive Productions Facebook page. Is that the best way?
Yeah, on the Facebook page, Instagram, everything is like facebook.com/happyhivesp.
Okay.
Yeah, SP, as well as Instagram. That's pretty much the best way for right now. And then my personal Facebook page.
Okay. Great.
Yes.
Well, that's exciting stuff. I don't know how you do it all.
Yes. I don't either. But it's the passion for wanting to do these things. It's a passion for that one more person, child, adult. We claim to be adults. So, we're just kids who've had a few more days and a few more experiences, and we're still kids. We're still always learning. And so that's the goal with each one of these things. They each have a different goal, but it's a betterment of humanity in general. That's
Right.
That's it. The part of the funds of this, once we cross into the green, is to go to a farm that helps people in Seattle. No, not Seattle. I'm trying to think of this. Kings County.
Okay.
Oregon. No, Washington.
Yeah, that's Oregon or Washington. Is it Washington? Yeah, Washington.
Washington. Yeah, Washington. And that's the goal, is to cross in the greens, because my goal is to be a catalyst to make an impact here. That's my goal. And sometimes it takes money, and that's and so that's why it's like, well, for the projects that aren't directly teaching a lesson, or even that are, if a part of it goes to a mission, then we've succeeded. And then we help the people who are already boots on the ground trying to make an impact.
Right. Well, I am so excited to hear about the books coming out in Happy Hive production. I think that is exciting, and we look forward to being able to purchase those books.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, so cool. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And
Yeah,
we, as a community, I know you've put out on Facebook that, we don't have to go too into this, but, that you have publicly stated that your wife has been, had some recent health challenges. And so, if you're watching this stream, and definitely connect with Nick on Facebook, and I will put all of his links above here so you can connect with him and encourage both he and his wife and their children, as they clearly have a lot on their plate, and even in their own trials are trying to get things out to help people. It's pretty amazing. And she's in our thoughts, and you guys are in our thoughts. And so, I just wanted to mention that briefly.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. The Domingo household appreciates it. And just being able, that's been one of the pluses of everything that's happening, is I get to be with my family all the time and take care of them as best as I humanly can, all as frequently as I can. But it's time that, that I really do enjoy.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a beautiful thing. All right, Nick. Well, thank you so much for your time and for blessing us with your presence here on the home scene yet again. And hopefully we can do this next year. I'd love to just have you on once a year. So much happens
cool.
in a year for you. It would be nice to just get kind of an update on where we're at with the video game, where we're at with the books, where we're at with all of these things, and see kind of the difference between the years, if you wouldn't mind. I know our listeners would enjoy that. So
yeah, I'd love to. I think maybe next time I'll convince my wife and my boys to be on here with me.
Oh, that would be awesome. We would love that.
Much.
See your beautiful family.
Yeah, I definitely want to give a shout out to my family, my wife Candace, my son Ethan, and my son Aiden. They're all around the house, scattered, doing their schooling or their work. So
nice.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, and I hope you have a beautiful day, and we'll be chatting with you soon, and looking forward to all of this exciting stuff.
Sounds good. I will keep you in the loop. And so
okay,
thank you.
Sounds good.
And thank you. You have also been a supporter and a part of a lot of our events, and like the musical was one of the most magical experiences of my entire life, and being able to work with you, with the kids, it was just great. Sending love to you.
It was amazing. Those are such fun memories.
Yeah. Complete craziness, and just all the different roles, the singing that they did, like the faces of them as a security.
Oh my gosh.
Favorite.
I have some pictures of that like I look back and I just die laughing. I just die laughing. It's so funny.
They did so good. Like,
there's a picture of I think it's I can't remember who it is, but somebody's got the plunger. A plunger. And we're in the back room. It's the dressing room, and the kids are all being crazy in there, and someone's got a plunger on Rihanna's face.
Yes.
It's a clean plunger.
Yeah,
but she's I don't think it was used. But it's stuck to her face, and I mean, literally that photo, it just cracks me up. Like I laugh out loud, hearty belly laugh when I look at that photo, because it's funny. I'll have to show it to you. I'll have to share it with you.
Please do, because that sums up because the whole thing was meant to be serious but also fun, and everyone did so good, from the initial intro school scene to the acting with that. Just everyone did so good, and seeing you know, your daughter's a security like that.
I know, I'll never forget that.
Yeah, so many good scenes, like the giant
Oh,
iguana
and just
scene.
the whole everything about it, with all the details. It was quite, we were so happy to be a part of that and so blessed, you know, to have that experience with you when you're, you know, just starting really some of these kind of ideas, and look at the
Yeah.
difference between now and then. I mean, you
Yeah.
know, but we're always supporters of you and of Captain Encouragement and your family and the things that you're doing now that are different, and the big growth that's going on. And you know, this little community will always be a really big supporter and love, and you know, love. We love you. That's just there it is. There, we love you.
Thank
So
you. And it is absolutely reciprocated. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. I love your family, and all the people in the area that we just genuinely love, because none of this to this point is possible without the support, you know, of you, your friendship as well. You know, we work together. We've had all sorts of fun adventures.
we have had some, yeah, I forget about those.
Yeah. So yeah, just thank you. It's
Yeah, same to you,
appreciated on
Nick.
all areas. So thank you.
And same here. All right, you have a blessed day, and we'll be in touch. And if you're watching this video, please share it. And let's get the word out for Nick, kind of what's going on with Captain Encouragement. And I'm going to link everything. And please follow all of his different social medias and accounts and things so that you can stay in the loop.
Thanks so much.
All right, you guys. Bye-bye.